first off, you have an Alexa?
Yeah, I've had one for a long time. I got it for free because I ordered so much from Amazon, and they gave me like one of those free Alexa Dot, I think they're called. They're really small.
Bro, my respect for you just went like
Dude,
six notches lower.
You think I give a shit, man? Like all this stuff, they're all watching and hearing us now, man.
Oh my God.
Is that why you?
Watch your profanity.
Is that what you're referring to, though?
Yeah.
It's because like they're all listening, and heck yeah, they're listening.
Bro, but don't like add to it. At least make it like a little bit difficult.
Dude, our phones, man. Our phones are right in our faces every day, dude. They have it. They have us, man. They have us. That's gonna lead me actually into something that
Wait.
Yeah,
Do an intro.
Yeah, I know. Are you gonna do the sound?
Oh yeah, hold on. Okay, hold on. I have an idea.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
Spring hair.
Everybody, it's beautiful.
Thank you, bro.
It's beautiful. I only laugh out of jealousy. And
My wife wants me to cut it.
No,
I know, and it's been
like how short.
She wants me to go back to like short. But I want to do two things before I cut it off. I'll give it a little bit. I want to do a full-on mullet.
Nice.
Like, I don't know if you can tell, but
yes,
it'll be epic.
So long.
Full mullet, and she just took off like 2 inches.
Really?
She just trimmed the bottom. I want to do a full mullet, but I also want to just to like annoy her because she wants me to cut it. I want to do. Have you seen those like Swedish or like German? It's like a bowl cut,
like the John Chris guy. Like how he did the comedian John Chris, like the Christian comedian dude.
Oh, I've seen him. Yeah. But I don't know the bowl cut.
He's done that. He did a bowl cut, and he did this whole like skit for like forever, and it's really funny.
Now
it's really
gonna
good.
Look like I'm trying to copy this guy. No, I just want to annoy my wife, so I want to do a bowl cut, like a straight German bowl cut, where the insides curl up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Dude, you should do it. You should totally do it, and we'll do it.
But how can I do a mullet and that?
That's the thing. That's what I was going to ask you actually. Like, which one are you going to do though first? Because you got to do the mullet with. It's got to be like some kind of a weird. Well, I guess. Yeah, bro. I don't think you can do it.
I don't know either. I don't think so.
I think
it's one or the other.
It is one or the other. That sucks, man. Because both are really good ideas. Unless you do the mullet, let it like chill with it for a little bit, let it grow back, kind of at least like this part to grow back.
I can't keep
do
the
mullet.
I can't keep a mullet for like a year. It's kind of just for fun, you know.
You can do it,
dude. I don't know. I gotta like do stuff in this world.
That's true. Actually.
I can't function with like
the
nastiest mullet ever.
You're not just at home creating Menace the Menace podcast.
I mean,
content, are you?
If I retire and off of Menace the Menace, then I'll do it.
We should ask ChatGTP how to invest that first $1,000 we're getting, and then maybe that'll make us rich. And then we can just do this.
I've tried. It's not telling me anything.
Bro, that brings me to what I texted you about the other day.
Do an intro.
Oh, yeah, how can we still want to do the intro. Welcome to Menace the Menace, everybody. It's so good to be back. We haven't done this in how long? It's been at least 3 weeks.
Dude, it's almost been a month, I think.
Oh man, really that long?
Yeah.
And right before we left, we got to meet our new friend, and then we did it. We did a podcast, and then after that, you did one with Mr. Adam, and which was good. Really good, and I was so jealous when I watched it because like, I want to be there with them.
He'll be back, and he won't be so awkward.
Yeah. Oh no, I would not.
He was just nervous. He was just nervous.
I've known him for a long time. I'm gonna make sure he's not awkward. I can bring that out of him. But I'm super stoked you guys did that. Welcome to Menace the Menace. It's so good to be back. And remember to like, subscribe, share, comment. We're getting lots of love. I was gone for about 2.5 weeks, and
I was gone for a week.
Where did you
before
go?
you? Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's been a month. Yeah, because then I was sick when I came back for the whole week. So yeah, that's a month right there. You're right. Wow. Where were you?
I went to Cali for a week with
Okay.
Rebecca.
Yeah, I actually do remember that now. You did tell me you were there for a little bit. Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. But honestly, now that we've been out here for like 4 years, bro.
Man, 4 years. Wow.
I know. Hey, we'll go back 3 days in. I'm like, I'm ready to go home. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
It's good. It's good to see friends.
I was out in Arizona for a while with my daughter, and visiting family and stuff, and then went out to Cali just for a few days, or a couple days actually. Really short. I got to link up with everyone from there. It was really nice. I do miss it, but I can't see myself moving back. Like,
I say the exact same thing, and all of my friends always are like, "Bro, when you can move back, you should move back." And I'm like, "You don't get it. Like, it's hard to explain to somebody who leaves there why you don't want to go back. You know, because that's all they know. That's all they know. So they still think it's like the best, and I'm like, you don't get it. Like, I can't explain it.
It was the best for a long time
until you. Well, actually, no. You've got a different perspective because you lived in other places, right?
Yeah.
You were in Chicago, Arizona,
even
now
Charlotte
Florida,
for almost 2 years.
Carolina, that's true.
You know, almost 2 years, you get to learn a lot about a town, and learn how much I hate it there. But then now Florida, for I think it's been like 9 months almost. It's been, not 4 years like for you, but and I'm digging North Florida. I like South Florida better, but it's just closer to my daughter, and where I live in this little town called Atlantic Beach is so nice, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have like the best neighbor in the world, and it's just it's a good time for me to be here. I don't know anyone like nearby, just a couple people, and it's so good for me to be here because I just spend so much time with Jesus because of it. It's just it like forces me. When I was in Arizona and spent time with family and friends, I kept busy, right? And I was just like, and then you see how easily you get distracted from just your walk with God. And I'm not saying your walk with God like I was like going on a different path. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about like a daily routine, or when you're home, I have a lot of time that I spend with Jesus, and I have my things. Like I go to bed early, I wake up really early. During the day, I do stuff. I can pop over to the beach really quick, nice little walk. I reset, and I'm constantly like praying and stuff. But like when I'm with friends and family and stuff and doing other things, and with my daughter, of course, it's just like so distracting, right? And then you just see yourself like, man, I barely prayed today, like, or I barely talked to Jesus today, and like no wonder we're so screwed up. Like it's so easily screwed up because we're so like distracted all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
And it sucks, man. And then so it's so nice to be back. It's good to be like back in his presence almost, like not that I was out of it, but you know what I mean, man.
For sure. What was the segue you wanted?
Oh yeah. What was the segue?
I don't remember. Before I said do an intro.
It was actually going into like the Mark of the Beast and stuff, because
video
that you sent.
Yeah, you want to get straight into it? Hold on, I got a sound for this.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child, corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
Welcome to Ben is the Menace podcast.
That's so clear.
Here we go. Awesome. Does it? Okay,
yeah. Good. Sounds really good.
Bro, I could get an entire Alex Jones, just a soundboard, just him. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Wonder what he's up to these days.
Oh, he's still doing his thing after getting sued for $1 billion and losing.
Yeah. What happens in that situation?
I think Texas has like some kind of legal limit on how much you can be sued for. So it's kind of just a performance. They basically sued. Nobody's ever been sued for that much personally, like in human history.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, hey, this will happen to you if you go up against us, but there's no way they can collect that. Yeah. So it's all for show. It's all for show.
I mean, but doesn't that make the judge look so stupid? Like who sets that number, right? Like $10 billion.
Yeah, literally. The judge was like Dr. Evil. 1 billion. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I can see like if like Bill Gates got convicted of something, right? And then they doing that to him because
Right.
he's got the cash, but
It would never
Alex
happen.
Jones,
It's a
I'm
joke.
sure Alex Jones has a lot of money or had a lot of money.
Right.
But do you think it depletes what he already has though?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's got to move stuff around. He's got to arguably probably hide stuff. You know what I mean? Or, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. I just know I listened to a lot of stuff when that all happened at first, and they were like, "Oh, there's no way. There's no way they're going to collect this. There might be an amount that he ends up paying, probably millions still, but there's no way they can actually collect for a bill." So
this is crazy.
we'll see. All right, bro, hit me. Market of beast, go.
Yeah. So that video that you sent me, should we pull it up?
Oh, can we? Can you do a screen share, bro?
I'm gonna try.
Did we ever try? Did we ever try calling in? Because I know you could do a screen share through the app for Riverside, and it'll bring your phone up, right? You could literally on the app bring your phone up into the stream.
Yeah.
And would the screen share and audio work if we play like a video off your phone?
Well, we can try it here and now.
We could try it, and I'll cut this all out if it doesn't work.
Yeah, let me just do it. Let me just click on the link here.
In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy my latest soundboard additions.
You have to use that one. You have to start with that one.
That one's good.
That was awesome.
That one's good. Okay, what else? We already heard the destroy the child. Oh man. Or should I save these for when they're appropriate, or just play them right now?
Just play them because.
Okay.
How dare you!
Classic. This is going to be used often in this show.
Yes.
Do those come in good? They're good. They're loud. They're clear.
Dude,
Okay.
super clear.
Our every time we do it's this. Because we can never get a soundboard working. So
I don't know, man. I like yours better. I like yours better.
Stupid. This is going to be played often as well.
Oh, hi. Thanks for checking in. I'm still a piece of garbage.
Love it. Yeah, it won't let me share my screen.
Really?
What else is new in your life, bud?
What else is new in my life? Outside of spring hair? I don't know, bro. I don't think there's much new. I built a fence.
Nice.
I need to build more fence so I can get chickens. We're working on it. We made a second offer on that one house up in the hills that we really want. Nice. And the chick said she's thinking about it. She just said that it's still not what they want, but it's like we prayed about it and got a pretty clear oh dude, actually this was a really good story. So lately I feel like we've been getting pretty like clear answers just from like scripture to requests and like questions and concerns we have. And it's just like straight up, we'll just like, we'll pray about stuff, we'll fast. And then even though I don't think that this is how it's supposed to work, but God's just like doing it out of grace, like we'll just open up to something randomly. And sometimes it's like, it doesn't mean anything, you know? And other times it's just like perfectly clear, you know? So I think that like sometimes when it doesn't mean anything, it's just like God, like, oh, well, keep praying, keep asking, keep seeking. It's not time for an answer, you know? Yeah. And then when it is time for an answer, it's extremely clear. Like that one example I gave when we wanted to sell our land. And every time we went up week after week and prayed at the land and would bust open the Bible, it would literally be like, the land will burn. It will be besieged by enemies. The hills will bring famine. Like every freaking week we did it. Crazy, and that's what it was saying, you know, over and over and over again. I think it happened like 4 or 5 times before we're like, okay, I guess we're not going to build our house. We're just going to sell this land, you know?
Right.
And so we put in an offer on this place like a couple months ago. She said, no, it's too low. We didn't want to go higher, blah, blah, blah. But like, I still really want to live up there. So I'm like, dude, let's just bump it up a little bit. And if it's meant to be, it'll be, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And my wife's like, nah, we already prayed about it. We already said that's how much we were going to offer. And I'm just like, well, let's pray about it again. Cause like, I still really want to do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
We had a little bit of a bumping of heads, right?
Right.
But then he was over. We talked with him, like found a middle ground. Then we fasted, prayed about it, and busted up in the Bible. And it was my wife, right? That was like, oh, I don't want to put another offer in, forget it. Like, and I wanted to. We open up the Bible. She opens it up. Bro, it's the most obscure passage in like Judges or something. I don't even remember where, maybe Jude. I don't know. But I think Judges. And it's about the title or the caption above all the verses is women will inherit the land. And it's about the laws. It's about the laws regarding how people it was through the women that land was inherited because they're the ones that would pick husbands or something like that. It was really weird. Like it was something that you would just read over and be like, Jewish law. You know what I mean? Like who cares?
Yeah.
But to us, like opening up the Bible to that when we're praying about like buying this piece of like land with the house on it. And it's my wife that's like hesitant. And it's just like, oh, the Jewish laws about how women inherit land and da-da-da-da-da. And I start laughing so hard. I'm like, you don't even have to read it. Like just the fact that we open to this phrase, how women inherit the land. Like I'm like, that's good enough for me. We're good. We read it. We're all cracking up because we still read it. And before we opened the Bible, it was so funny. He's like, oh, so do you guys like do this often? Because I don't think this is how it's supposed to work.
Right.
He's like, oh, is this like an Adriana Gnan like technique that you've picked up? You know what I mean? Because that's my mom would do that all the time, and it like kind of never worked. You know?
Right. Oh so yeah, my parents did that too. Yeah.
All the time. Okay, so I'm not saying that's how it's supposed to work, right?
Right.
But listen, bro, sometimes it does. Okay. And it's been very, very obvious for us when it's worked.
Yeah.
And again, I just think that's like the grace of God in that moment. And then after we read that, Sebi's like, I'm like, oh, bro, so what's up? Do you believe in our in the Koznian technique now or what? And he's like, I don't know, but I don't think I can deny it.
That's so good.
It was so funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I remember watching my parents do it as I grew up, and I thought that they were just crazy.
Yeah,
like, you know. And I don't know if I actually ever did it, and like where it made like a profound, you know, like effect on me, or even if it was something that helped me or not helped me. Like I don't think it was anything, but what I've learned in the last 6 months is that the Holy Spirit is so cool and weird and different.
For sure.
That, I mean, I have stories I can tell you from this trip that happened that you'd be like, what? Like that really happened? Like I was at someone's house and it freaked them out. Like when it happened, like it was such a small little thing.
Nice.
But they all like, oh my goodness, this just happened. I'm like, yeah, that's how God speaks. So, I mean, who am I to say that he won't speak to that? You know, we know he can. Will he or won't he? That's up to him. Right. So
dude, I think we just make our requests known.
Yeah.
Have faith that he could do whatever the heck he's going to do and whatever he wants. God doesn't care about like your predispositions about him. You know, like, oh, God's not going to speak to me by opening the Bible randomly. Oh, okay. Like, then maybe he won't, because like you've already imposed that on him.
Yeah.
You know,
true.
And we're not asking for things that are like unbiblical or anything like that. Literally, they cast lots in the Bible to pick the replacement for Judas. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm not saying like that's what you should do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just pray, ask God to reveal himself however he sees fit, and bust your Bible open. Maybe just keep reading whatever you were reading, and the next verse in line is going to be whatever was an answer to your prayer. We've had that happen where we're reading stuff, you know, just in our regular reading. It's just the next thing we're reading, and it's an answer to a very specific thing we've been asking for, you know, and we're like, oh my God, okay, we get it, you know? So don't put baby in a corner, you know?
Don't, I'm so happy, first of all, that you guys are doing this stuff together. Like, how important has that been? Like, how cool is that to have someone that you could do this with? You know, like take that from a single dude.
Yeah.
That's
I am
really
grateful,
good.
man. I am grateful. It definitely keeps me in check to have like a wife and run stuff by her, but we're so opposed on things like this because she's super, super like cautious and hesitant and scared to make changes and go all in on like such a big change, you know? Sure. And I'm just like, I don't give a crap. Let's get out of here. Like, I just want to do it. I almost just want to like give them everything they want and just like get rolling because time is short. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the sooner we get rolling, the better off it is. And I don't think it's really going to matter if you save some bucks in the long run. Yeah. You know? For sure. But I definitely, I can't take her and just do whatever I want. Yeah. No. I don't know. I just, even though I'm like leader of the household and the wife needs to submit and I just can't do that. You know what I mean? I don't think it's wise. Yeah. Right.
And that's not in all things, you know, like we can look at it and be like, submit all the time in all things. Like, no, it's not about submission at this point. It's about, she's a partner in your relationship, right? Like she's not someone that you just overlook, you know, she's someone that has to go through circumstances too with you and consequences with you if things go bad, right? So I don't look at it that way with the whole submission thing. I think that if you guys are at a crossroads and you have to make a decision, right? Like now you're still kind of like, you can be open. You're not pressured to be out of your home, right? You can give God time. You can sit in it. But if you have to make a decision, like on the spot, and you guys cannot come to agreement, then yes, you supersede, right? As the man, the leader, because you're taking responsibility for that decision, and she has to come underneath you. And trust, that, and through her obedience and coming underneath you, I think.
And then nag me about it later.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing that says in the Bible they can't. So
I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. Don't you remember that one verse where it says it's like better to live on the corner of your roof than to have a wife? Like it's like dripping water. You know what I mean?
I love that picture because you always see like someone like depict like a little cartoon with like a dude. He's so sad. He's just sitting on the corner of and it's raining and clouds and stuff.
And all the chicks right now are like,
how dare you?
Perfect. But they're like in the window and they're like, like still yelling, even though he's on the roof and stuff. Dude, they won't stop.
So funny, man. So we'll see. That's new. And we'll see. And then, I mean, just in the same vein, man, with like you were just saying, God speaks in such weird ways or is clear in such weird ways. Even, I mean, bro, I showed you that little video I've made where I literally put together a social media clip regarding like the World Economic Forum, and how they're promoting this one world religion that unites all of the religions called Baha'i. Baha'i. Okay. And these guys like Klaus Schwab, I don't know if we should say this or if we're going to get freaking flagged for talking about World Economic Forum and these dorks.
We're not big enough.
That's probably true. But they promote this one world religion that unites all the religions. Okay. In their speeches and stuff, they wear patches for it. In their speeches. I've seen this. Okay. In their public presentation. The guy looks like he's wearing a freaking robe from like space. Okay. And he's got like patches on it. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing you've ever seen. And
they live in a different world, these guys, dude. They're in a whole different place.
Oh, Dennis, they do live in a different world.
I know.
Their feet doesn't touch this earth, bro. The world that we experience is not what they're experiencing by any means. You know what I mean? They're the ones pulling the strings. We're the ones that are just at their behest and mercy, whatever they decide. That kind of governs culture in the world. They're the elites of the world, Yeah. Anyway, so they're promoting this religion, Baha'i. Guess where the headquarters for Baha'i is? Jerusalem. It's in Israel. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say Jerusalem.
Not in Israel. It's outside of Jerusalem.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Something actually. Go ahead.
So that new temple that they just built, that they opened, that has all three religions that are coming together.
Yes.
Okay, so where the Pope was, and the Muslims and the Jews, right?
Yeah.
So Catholic, Jews, popes. That is
Catholic Jews,
the
Muslims.
Baha'i.
I don't know if that exactly is Baha'i or if that's some kind of sister religion, but Baha'i believes the exact same thing. They believe that all of the world religions are true in their own way, and they all lead us to the same, divine being or whatever is up there, just in different ways, right?
Man, how deceitful is that, dude?
I mean, it's literally, it's just the lie from the garden. Like, you will be your own gods. So whatever you come up with is all good because it's from yourself and you're God. So you're good. You'll get there,
But it's so easy to accept.
It's very easy to accept because it just means nobody's wrong. It doesn't matter how opposing all the views are. Nobody's wrong. And then you get the Bible and Jesus, and he's like, I am the only way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father but through me.
Dude, if he didn't say that, if he didn't say those words, imagine like the debates we'd be having.
For sure. But it's so clear. It's so clear. And we know this as Christians. There's a lot of other supernatural beings out there. Okay. Especially if you read the Unseen Realm, which we'll go into that a lot. There's a lot of supernatural beings out there. They have powers, abilities too. And you can't deny as a Christian that those beings might be appearing to people and causing them to start world religions, lead them astray, give them knowledge, give them even insight into truths, into supernatural, extra dimensional truths, which entices humanity because, that's what all religions are. It's what else is out there, what's on the other side.
Right.
And so every other world religion almost has bits and pieces of these same truths, but it's only the Bible and Christianity that comes along and is like, well, let us give you the truth about everything going on so that you can interpret all these false religions through this reality. It kind of gives us the rubric on how to interpret world religions and what's really going on behind the scenes in them. Cause we know it's all demonic. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
It's pretty interesting, man. Unseen Realm's been amazing, by the way.
Yeah. They did a live stream on his funeral.
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
No, I popped on my feed and I turned it on twice. But I just couldn't. It was in the middle of the day or something. It was weird for me. So timing.
Yeah. Hey, sorry, hold on. The reason the Baha'i thing came up, we didn't finish it, was because I just finished making that video. On World Economic Forum, Baha'i, one world religion, one world government. And 1 minute later, I'm not even kidding, 1 minute later, my mom texts in our group chat with me, my wife, and my parents. And she's like, we are in Israel. I mean, her accent didn't come through in her text, but I know how my mom sounds. You know what I mean? Hey, she's like, we are in Israel. We are at the temple of Baha'i. I've never heard of the word Baha'i in my life. She's never said it. She's never said we want to go visit. Never. Okay. It's like, we are at the temple of Baha'i. And she just sends me this this video that she's recording of the whole temple area, the gardens, everything that I just made a video of. Explaining what Baha'i is, dude, 1 minute later,
that's how God works, man.
There's no odds that can happen.
There's nothing. I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
Not even coincidences, but just from people that are like, oh, I'm a naturalist. The only thing that exists is earth and physical matter, and there's nothing supernatural. Okay, the odds that my parents, unbeknownst to me, are in a place that I didn't even know existed at the exact minute that I just learned about this place, what's going on with World Economic Forum and this religion. And I post this video about it. And then my parents text me hey, we're here. And here's a video of all of it. And neither of us have ever talked about it. That's impossible. It's impossible.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Totally, dude. It's not a coincidence. It's totally
and people can calculate odds. If there was ever a way to calculate those odds, it would be, I don't even know how you could do that though.
Yeah, no, it'd be astronomical. Well, no,
if there's any statisticians out there, let us know what the odds are.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be where your parents are at that time, exact time, you know, like where they were the rest of the year at that exact time, you know,
for sure.
It's such a crazy
What are
thing.
the odds that video came into my feed where I'm like,
Right.
whoa, this is crazy. Let me post this. You know what I mean? Oh, it's insane. Like, it's impossible.
And the fact that you never heard of any of this stuff.
Never.
You know, that's even like more better. It's even better because you're like, that's totally God trying to like show you something and teach you something and be like, talk about this because this is coming.
Oh, I believe it, man. It was he probably intended for all that to happen so we could have this conversation right now.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And bring it to light. Yeah. I mean, and then I sent her the video that I made. I texted her, I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, do you guys know what that place is? And she's like, no, what is it? It's a temple. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful because it's really pretty. And I send her the video that I just made explaining all of it. And she just texts back, oh my God. She's like, we had no idea. Oh my God.
Let's leave. You know? Dude,
so funny.
But okay, so I want to talk really quick about like, that's God's way of talking to us, right? So, or like one way, right? And how often are you aware of like that's happening? Like how, or how aware are you of how often it actually happens,
right?
In your daily life? Because that's something that I've been seeing for the last 6 months of my life. That's been great. At first, when it was happening, like I would just be like, "Huh, well, that's weird."
Yeah,
then, like, you know. But it would keep happening. I'm like, "Huh, am I losing my shit?" You know?
Yeah. Wait.
Watch your profanity.
Sorry, I'm still coming off this chest cold, but I'm feeling a lot better. But yeah, man, and then I would think, and then I like started like telling like a couple people, and like, or no. Before I started telling people, I started to see it happen in other people around me. So, for example, I'd be talking to like my neighbor. We have like our JAD nights or Jesus, I got Dennis nights, and we'd be hanging out talking about Jesus, and then the next day at church, for example, right? We'll be sitting there at church because we go to church together, and then like the pastor would say something, and she'd be like hitting me in the chair.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
That's what you just said yesterday. Like that's what you. And this happens so many times. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting weird. Like, what is going on? Dude, this happened with my parents. We're chilling on the couch, and I asked them, like, hey guys, like, I know you're retired and you're just sitting around, like not really doing much. My dad goes fishing. My mom like cooks and cleans all day. Like that's all she does. Like they go on walks. They don't really do much but go to church, and that's it. And and I'm like, when was the last time like you spoke to someone and you brought them like to Christ? Like when was the last time you like worked for the kingdom? You know. And
he's like, that's not my job. I'm not pastor.
Right.
I pay him for that.
So good. But they pushed back on me because they were like, they knew that it was like a legit question, but it made them really uncomfortable because they couldn't answer like, oh yeah, you know, well, I talk to people all the time. Like they couldn't say anything. Like, I'm like, well, when was the last time that you did it? You know, like, and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just trying to open up conversation. And talk about things that my parents and I don't really talk about. And so, you know, we're talking about, they push back on it. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just chill. And, anyway, they go to church that night, and I don't go to the church at night. And anyway, then I see them when they come back, and my dad's like, so guess what the sermon was about tonight? I'm like, what? He's like evangelizing, like talking to people about Christ, you know, bringing them, and that we need to. And if we're not doing it, like we're not building the kingdom and all this stuff. And I just start laughing out loud. Like, yep, God. That's God.
Dude, that's funny because guess what? If you wouldn't have brought that up to them, they probably would have just sat through that sermon and been like, that's a very good point, my wife. What's your mom's name?
Kathy.
Kathy, that's a very good point, no? And it's like, baby, or whatever. You be there. And then they go home and that's it. It's gone. You know, it's out of mind. But the fact that you brought it up ahead of time and they push back, then they hear it and they're like, oh my God, Kathy. We need to go talk. We need to go talk to people.
That's how my dad like brought it up. He's like, I can't believe this. He's like,
see,
and but it stuck then, you know, it like stuck,
dude. Exactly.
And then I'm like, okay, because my mom's like, but I don't go anywhere. I just sit in the house all day. And I'm like, okay, well, like just pray about it. Pray that God brings you people. He'll bring you people, you know. and don't be religious about it. Just tell him what God did in your life and how much He loves you and how much He changes you, or changed you and changes you, and how much joy you have and peace you have. And that's our lives are testimonies first. But it's such that Ben, I'm telling you, this happened while I was gone. Like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 times I can like just talk to you about. It's crazy.
Yeah.
With people that you know too. Yeah. People that that back in Arizona, they're just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's God. But you got to be open to it, right? And you got to open to it. You have to like look for it, because it happens, man, all the time. And I think that for me, like when I see it, and I see it like now, and I'm getting better at recognizing it.
Yeah.
I think that like because it boosts my faith, right?
Oh, for sure.
It keeps you like
for
connected.
Sure.
It boosts your faith. You're like, oh, dude, this God's a living being talking to me, through His Holy Spirit, like right now here on earth, like in my kitchen, like how amazing that He wants to be in all the details of our life, right? And I don't know, man. My time with God is not just my time in the morning; it's throughout the day. And a friend of mine asked me recently. He's like, "Hey, man, have you been like attacked by like the devil lately?" And I'm like,
and you're like, "No, but my buddy Ben's been getting weird dreams, and he can't wake up."
I did actually mention you. I'm like, "Yeah, I have a buddy. He was, but not only you, but like a couple people in my life that I know that are like, going through some stuff, and I'm just like, not really. Like, I'm not. I don't. But then I keep thinking, and I'm just like, well, why am I not being attacked? Maybe I should be being attacked, right? Like, does He not care about what I'm, what I'm doing? But then
maybe you have like too much protection right now. Like you're insulated right now.
I really believe it's because of my time with God.
It can be.
Ben, I constantly like think on God and talk about God or talk to God. I like when I'm like working and stuff, like, I'm working, I'm in my, I'm in the zone, I'm doing my stuff, but then like I'll get up. If my phone doesn't chime and tell me like, pray, like time to pray or whatever, I'll like go to the bathroom. Like on my way to the bathroom, I'll like pray, like, I'll just say, thank you, Jesus, for this, thanks for showing me favor, like all this stuff. It's just a natural thing. Before I go to bed, I'm praying and I fall asleep praying.
Yeah.
That's just how I fall asleep. And it's been helping my insomnia. Like I have no insomnia. I haven't had insomnia in 6 months, wow. Like it's all gone. And it's just because I can't stop talking to Him. I wake up thinking about Him. He's in my mind when I wake up, which is so bizarre and wild, like,
it blows my mind on this topic, man. The fact that like God's always on your mind. It's the same with me. There's nothing, how can I put this? God's like a filter through which I see and experience reality. You know what I mean? There's not a moment in my day where I'm just like, oh, well, where's God in this? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, He's always on the mind, Yeah. There are people, like, think about this, man. There's people out there, probably the majority actually, that go throughout their day. I'm not talking about Christians, I'm talking about non-Christians in particular, that live their life and, that live their lives, with no concept of God in their mind ever.
Right.
Ever. Like, even if you're a Christian, okay, and you're not thinking about God constantly, cool. Right. Once in a while, you'll be like, oh, God, help me, save me. Because
you need help. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what usually pushes people.
So,
right?
So that's what I'm saying. At least they've got the concept of God in the back of their mind somewhere. There's a lot of people that live their life without God ever being a thought in their mind. You know what I mean? Do you realize, like, just from a sociological or psychological point of view, do you realize what difference it makes in your life to think that there's something bigger than you and like a creator and like there's powers and there's something else going on entirely outside of just this world and what you can do? Do you know what, like, there's such a big difference that'll have on your brain and the way you live life. I don't know, even if you're not Christian, like even if you're Muslim or Hindu or whatever, that makes a difference compared to people that are just like, there's nothing, nothing. It's just me right here, right now. Like, that's crazy. I just thought about that like a year ago where I'm like, holy crap, there's people that like don't believe in anything.
Right.
Like, can you imagine what that does to you, man? Like, that would be like the most depressing.
Yeah, because everything is mechanical. Everything is the engine. Nothing is that. There's no beauty in anything. There's no wonder in anything. Everything has its own dead end. You know, everything's a dead end.
It's
there's
pointless.
no purpose.
Like, it's
right?
pointless.
It is all pointless, right? So I'm reading this book right now. It's so cool how you brought this up, Ben, because I'm reading this book by Josh McDowell.
Was meant to be.
Like by Josh McDowell on how to know God exists. And it's such a cool
Is that
book.
what it's called?
Yeah, How to Know God Exists by Josh McDowell and some other dude that co-wrote it with him. And they start off the book basically by saying, we are not going to use one scripture in this book to try to prove to you how God exists, that, you know, how to know that God exists. We are going to use reason, logic, like history and society, culture, and what we perceive to talk about it. Oh my goodness. Like, I mean, they had me hooked right when they started that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Ben,
I'm going to get it.
This book is so sick. It's not the easiest read. But it's not that hard for you. You might be like, dude, why'd you even
I'll get it on audio. I'll just listen to it.
Yeah. And that's what I do. And but there's chapter 9 of this. I have to tell you, is probably the most beautiful chapter I've ever read in my entire life in a book. Okay. And I say that outside the Bible because there are no chapters in the Bible.
That's true.
So, but in books made by like men, you know, in the modern day age, I have never read anything a chapter more beautiful, because it just focuses on the honest of God, like in how amazing and beautiful and wondrous and what beauty means, and how that just the fact that we see beauty alludes to perfection, that there is something out there that's perfect, that beauty is just a portion of perfection. Like, we can't see anything that's really, really perfect.
There is nothing that is perfect.
Right. Except for Jesus. Right. And so, like, in all ways, not just perfection in wisdom or perfection in power, but perfection in beauty. He is all things, right? Like, he is the best of every single part of anything that we've ever imagined. Right. And how amazing is that like we get to spend eternity with him. Like, that's what eternity is all about. It's not just about to escape this earth. It's not just to escape the pains of this earth and the sin of this earth. It's and the temptations of this earth. It's to experience him. And he gives himself to us, right? He dwells in us. He builds his temple in us. And how just beautiful that picture is, and what eternity is going to look like for us.
Yeah.
But this chapter, I'm telling you, even if you start this book, almost start with that chapter just because it's so beautiful, and then start with the whole book. I'm telling you, it's so mind blowing. I've listened to the chapter 3 times now. I can't get past it. It's so
dude, that's funny. There's been a few I've been posting on like our social media more and more, you know, and some of those videos have been like blown up like crazy. So I'm getting like a ton of comments, and I don't know if it's like ADD or whatever it's called, but I really want to respond to everything, you know? So I'm like responding to everyone on stuff. And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this is great. This is beautiful. Like, amen, blah, 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 you know, whatever. And then there's some people that'll come in and be like, oh, this is stupid. Like, how can you believe stuff like this? The Bible's been disproven. Like, the Bible's been changed. You don't even know what it really says. Like, blah, blah. One guy this morning that I was just reading, he was like, oh, all this stuff's just fairy tale, you know, and you're just believing myths from generations ago. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if it's good that I like reply to these guys, because they annoy me, you know, but hey, I reply and I'm just like, I bet you believe that the entire universe and everything in the entire third dimension and consciousness all came from a dot the size of a period on a paper that was spinning really fast and then just exploded into everything you see in this entire dimension, you know? And I'm like, that guy thinks I believe in fairy tales because I think that there's something bigger, smarter, greater, outside of this dimension that made everything that we see, feel, touch, consciousness, everything, right? But to him, everything in the entire third dimension coming from a dot spinning makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? Like it's science. It's the experts. It's what that's how, bro, get out of here.
Love this book. You're going to love this book because it talks
awesome.
all about that and how it disproves evolution and how like
it's just such a double standard though, man. Like, I don't know how anybody could be, I don't know how anybody could be like rational and honest with themselves and say that I'm crazy, but I believe this.
It's because they're not, with the book.
It's like a blindness.
And but it's a self-imposed. You see,
I think it's spiritual. I think
it is spiritual, and this is what the
demonic.
book gets to. It says about this. It talks about like how, man, no matter how much like their theories just continue to get destroyed, but they don't want to give it up. They don't want to give in.
Right.
It's that resisting.
Well, think about what that does. Like we just talked about, people go through this life without any concept of God at all. Right. Without that concept, they have a particular worldview. Mm-hmm. Okay, as do we, but we just incorporate a God into that. Mm-hmm. So when their beliefs start getting challenged a little bit, or things start getting disproved, even through their own science. No, dude, the majority of people don't even believe in evolution anymore, or not evolution, the Big Bang, because it's been shown statistically, mathematically, even as they discover more and more stuff in space, there's galaxies that are spinning the wrong way, right? Because if everything on a dot is spinning one way and then it explodes, everything in the all the galaxies, everything in the universe should be spinning the same way. Okay. But there's not. There's stuff going the opposite way. And I'm not talking about a rock. I'm talking about entire galaxy systems going the opposite direction. Okay. So everything they keep finding disproves the original Big Bang theory, because that's all it's been, and that's all it'll ever be. And there's a lot of other stuff that's disproving it. So the majority of people in academia, they don't even believe the Big Bang anymore. The general consensus now is something called panspermia, that something else planted us. I know it's okay. Hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to preemptively
watch your profanity.
Watch my profanity. Okay. Because I wanted to put it in a not so good way, but it's literally, the idea is that something somewhere else, and of course they're going to say it's like aliens, right? Something somewhere else, put ejaculant onto crystals or a rock or something, sent it out into the universe, and it like landed on Earth.
Shut up! This is
this is the main theory right now. That's taking over for I guess for like the genesis of life. They still have they've got nothing to replace the Big Bang yet, but for the genesis of life, they know that it could not have been from the Big Bang because you can't explain like consciousness with Big Bang. You can't explain. There's a lot. You can't
explain emotion.
You would just have to say it's all just cerebral. Like it's just neurons in the brain firing with electrical impulses that creates personality, emotion. But here's the problem. Take a brain, put it in a body, physical body, put electricity through it, so the neurons are firing. You got no consciousness. Nothing can animate life. Like you could put all the pieces together, but there's no consciousness. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's the thing. Panspermia, bro. Semen on crystals, and that's the genesis of life on this planet. And of course, they're going to attribute it to aliens, and that's what they attribute it to. But if we say that there's something that created us, okay, whatever you want, put freaking sperm on crystals and send it to planet Earth, whatever you want. If we say something created us and life on this planet, we're crazy. If they say aliens beat it onto crystals and planted us on that's science. You know what I mean? Dude, it's such a freaking joke, man. Like I see the double standard so clearly, and it blows my mind how like dishonest people are intellectually with themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the ones that think that they're the smartest, which is really funny.
Yeah, I don't think that they genuinely believe their own bullshit. Like,
That's a good point too.
I don't think so. I think that it comes from a resistance. It comes from a defiance. I mean, come on, man. I mean, these, you know, I was reading a book. It said, you know, God doesn't send anyone to hell. His people choose to go to hell. And that was like, whoa. I mean, do the people really choose? But then when you really look at society, right? Like, and you see like what's going on, like, man, there's people that are so sick and twisted, you know, when it comes to just the sexuality stuff, you know, the gender stuff that's going on, right? With, you know, with children, right? And now they're castrating children and they're doing, you know, so much like evil and that, man, 20 years ago, like we would never even like,
bro, 5 years ago, we would have never even.
True.
This
a lot has happened,
bro,
since COVID.
This escalated so fast.
Yeah.
Okay. The destruction of the Western society, you know, we've always seen it and it's been like trickling in, right? But in the past 5 years, 5 years? Nah, not even 5 years.
No, 3 years, 3.5 years now, 3.5 years, because since 2020, man, let's be honest. Like,
hey,
before
since
2020,
how can we put it? What is that disease that went around for a little while, you know?
Really
I
popular.
think since then, reality's kind of like shifted.
Yeah.
You know? And
I think it had to do also with keeping us at home, like, and separated for a while. Like think about the tactic there, right? There must have been something else there with that we're not seeing, as far as like keeping us home, keeping us separated from each other, not allowing us to be together. And the majority of the world, I mean, the whole world, dude.
Yeah.
The whole world.
I think that was a tactic, you know, it was a tool. But from a bigger perspective, like if you take a step back, that had an effect for sure. Yeah. But from like a 4D perspective, from a spiritual perspective, right? Because that kind of like governs what's going on right now. This is all spiritual, right? It's almost to me like the powers that be, the elites, the spiritual elites, all those dudes, it's almost as if they're just like, it's go time. It's freaking go, unleash, just like unleash, you know, humanity's been primed and now this is our full on assault. And dude, guess what? All of these guys in power, like the global elites, like the WEF, all these dorks, Gates, all of them, they've all said, this is the new normal.
Right.
There's no going back.
Right.
And guess what? We haven't let up off the gas. Like it's only constantly going in that direction right now.
Yeah, true.
Masks are gone. Shots are gone. The disease is gone.
Yeah, they don't talk about it anymore.
Everything's gone. Everything that destroyed society and the world is over with.
Yeah.
But guess what? The results aren't gone. Right. Okay. We're still dealing with all the insanity from then, or from that time. And now it's almost as if like they just keep replacing one thing with another to keep things pedal to the metal. You know what I mean? Just go. I almost feel like it's going to reach some kind of climax where something big's going to pop off. Something big's going to happen. You know, I think this disease from a few years ago, I think that was just like the trial run to see how society would react, you know? And to kind of, it's kind of like a pressure test to see what would happen.
So, okay. So let's take a step back and think about the devil for a second here.
Oh, hold on. While we get into these topics.
Yeah.
And we're back.
So good. So let's think about the devil for a second. Let's think about, okay, how long he's been doing this, right? How long he's been deceiving, right? Mankind since the beginning.
Not only deceiving, working through humans to bring about his end.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because not everybody that's doing what he wants is deceived. Some people are so happy to work with him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So let's think about what he's trying to do, right? What is the devil trying to do? He kills. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. That's what it says in the New Testament. But he also perverts. He also copies, right? He tries to, even in the Bible says he comes as an angel of light, you know. So I think that we don't pay attention enough to like his tactics or like his, how I'm not trying to say, oh, he's powerful in the earth. I know he's not all powerful, but he's powerful way beyond than we can even think or reimagine. I think that he doesn't even want us to talk about this stuff because then we'll start to like understand, oh, well, like this is a lot deeper than we think.
Right.
And so when we were talking about how it escalated over the last three and a half years so quickly, right? Let's take a step back though and look, 5 years prior to that, right? Like remember, like when Trump was president, like things were already starting to get pretty bad as far as, fake news and all this stuff happening, right? Like, all these accusations and all this stuff, all this stuff with China, right?
China.
Oh man, what a setup!
Very good.
Alley-oop, baby.
Very good. Getting so good at this, but the Russia collusion, and now Russia's at war with Ukraine. Like so much stuff, right? Like even before the vid. So like, it was already going in in such a really crazy direction, and then you look at society as a whole, like from when you were younger to your first 10 years, and then you're from 10 to 20 and how society changed, and then from 20 to 30, right? Like remember the gay agenda. Like when you were young, it really wasn't an agenda as much, right?
Why are you gay?
My goodness, you're on it tonight, Ben. You're on fire. And so like we have, like when you look back, you see like it has been escalating, right? And moving.
It's been building.
It's been building.
It's been building. Yeah.
And I agree with you. It's been like crazy nonstop the last 3.5 years. And it's like, oh my gosh, how like much crazier is it going to get?
That's what I mean though. We could take a step back, like you're saying. We see the pieces that were set in place, and now it's almost as if like the dominoes were hit and it's all just coming.
Yeah.
Everything's been unleashed, you know?
But what I want to get to though is that this is a plan in place for a very, very, very long time. Like this is not, him like over the last like 50 years thinking, okay, let me do this. Like,
no, I mean, way longer.
The Bible even talks about his schemes, right? Like the Bible warns us about these things.
For sure.
So, you're talking thousands of years now, right? Where let's just say, okay, 2,000 years he's at least planning it. Like, no, he planned it already.
Almost since the beginning, man.
Since the beginning. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. His whole point was to corrupt, and he just got stronger and stronger. And I think like we have to be so aware of that as we live our lives, because I think we're so easily deceived, man. Even Christians, even people who are like sincere, right? Like sincerely love the Lord, right? Like we are even deceived in a lot of ways, man. And I'm telling you this because I was at church in Arizona. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, what? It's massive church, by the way. It's huge. This is the biggest Romanian church I've ever been to. This is crazy.
Oh, Romo Church?
Yeah, dude. Romo Church. Yeah, sorry. I should have said that. And I went for Easter, right? And I went to be with family and stuff. And I walk in this place, man, and I'm just like, and you see like the Pharisees like on the stage, like they have like rows of like pastors and deacons and whatnot, like on the stage. Nice. Man, they're just sitting there the whole time. This service,
they're like not even participating. They're just there for some reason.
They're just there
in front of everybody,
elevated higher than, dude. It's so sad.
Nice.
And I'm like to my brother, that's where the Pharisees sit, huh? He just starts cracking up. But like, anyway, so I'm in this church and my heart's breaking for it because I'm like, man, I mean, I'm happy there's a lot of people there and it's cool, but like, it's just the same old thing. Like this, just the same old thing that I knew for 20 years ago, right? Like the same old mentality, the same old things that they're doing and saying, and there's like no new fresh wine that Jesus talks about, like in the church and stuff. But I go back and I think, okay, man, how deceived are they? They're just sitting in this. They're just sitting in this and believing that this is church. Like, and they're so self-deceived, right? Like, and that's just the church. But then like you go like into the education systems and into the like the government systems that we have, of course, right? Where it's a little bit more evident and easier to see and recognize. But in our own lives, like what are we even deceived about, man? Like our habits and the way we look at life and
the moon landing.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm just kidding.
9/11.
Keep going.
But like, but where are we? So like, I spent time with my parents, with like friends this last 2.5 weeks now, and I'm in a conversation, kind of in a conversation. I'm just kind of in the middle of this, and they're like, there's a bunch of real estate guys talking back and forth about like real estate for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I'm just be quiet. Now, you know me, Ben, like I was a real estate guy for a long time. Like I was in all of those conversations, always talking real estate. Right. And I'm so quiet. I'm just sitting there listening and just like kind of like looking, and they're just all talking. They're all different aspects of real estate. What's happening in the market, all this stuff, man. They're like so passionate about it. They're just talking about this. This is like everything for them. And I'm just like sitting there, just like, man, I feel so out of place. And then one of the guys is like, dude, why are you so quiet? Like you're always in these conversations. And I'm like, because none of this matters.
Yeah.
I just said, like, none of this matters. Like, I don't want to talk about this stuff. Like, I want to talk about spiritual matters. I want to talk about God. I want to talk about Jesus. I want to talk about the Holy Spirit. What's going on in your life? Like, what are you guys learning? What are you guys experiencing? Like, who are you talking to Jesus about? Like, you know, is the kingdom being built around you? Are you like in his kingdom? Are you in his presence? Are you talking to him? Are you hearing from him? What are you hearing from him? You know, what are you learning? You know, from your readings? Like, this is the stuff that like ignites me, and all this other stuff. Like, I don't want to hear about it, but I say this because they're like deceived themselves. Yeah. You know, this is like what matters to them. It's like these things, this real estate and money, and dude, I know we all have to work, but excuse me, but it's like, let's work, but let's also like spend our time like really focused on what matters, man, and which is
especially now, bro, right? Yeah, especially now, as we see the plan that's been laid for millennia kind of unfolding, right? Especially now.
That's a great point, Ben.
That's been like, for sure, in the past year, that's really rung true for me. Because I was that guy, like I was the guy sitting talking about real estate, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I'll still get off on, I'll talk about whatever.
Sure, you know? I'm not saying it's wrong, it's bad to.
Right.
I'm not that guy, but
I'm just definitely more aware of how unimportant a lot of things that we've like built our lives around is, you know. And interestingly enough, after I had that realization, God's just brought a lot of people in our lives that are like ready.
Awesome.
They're all like, his hook was right in front of their mouths, and God brought him along, and he was just like, and like just like pushed them into the hook. You know what I mean? And it just like keeps happening in conversations, and like just people that are just like seeking for truth, you know, and had like, and I'm not saying that I have the truth. I'm obviously a weirdo.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
Okay, that's like what I believe. You know?
But it's true, though, because I look at you and I'm just like, man, when I look at Ben now, I don't look at Ben like the one who owned, like, you know, that business that you owned in Cali. I don't look at you as like a real estate guy. I don't look at you like, I look at you as like a like super like hungry man for like the things of the Bible and like what's happening in this world in the last days, and aliens and the UFO stuff and the demons and like, you know, all this stuff that's becoming reality. I mean, like that video you posted, like in 2024, you know, we're going to be taken over by like an alien or whatever. There's going to be an alien invasion, right? Yeah.
Bro, if you don't even things like that though, people are like, oh, that's crazy. Like you're so crazy. You're off the deep end, bro. You know, look at my hair. Right. You know, but here's the thing. Like, you can just see that that's another piece to the puzzle of what's going on.
Right.
You know, it's like seeing the gay agenda for what it was 30 years ago as they're trying to pass laws and this and this and that. And Christians back then were like, we shouldn't be for this because it's going to come for the children and the children and the children. And people are like, you guys are crazy. Love is love. What do you care? We just want to love each other. Yeah. It's all about love. And we were like, I remember the Christians were just getting crap because they're like, they're crazy. They just want nobody wants your children. We just want to live our own lives, have the same amount of laws that apply to us, blah, blah, blah. And they're cutting your kids' dicks off.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? And they're like inverting them and giving them vaginas and they're cutting boobies off. And you could be like 13 years old and make those decisions. Washington just passed laws that if you restrict your child's transition or don't respect their pronouns or whatever, the state of Washington will take your children. Okay.
So I read like
and do what? And do what? What are they going to do with them? Probably respect their pronouns, and give them the operations they desire.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm sure it's going to happen. But so someone sent me that there was an amendment to that law, and it doesn't quite say. I read through it. It doesn't quite say that they're going to take them, the kids away. What the amendment says is that if the children feel that they cannot be in that household, then they can go to a place. So it's like they have to volunteer or willingly go to a place, and then they would be protected. So I don't know if that's just a nice way of saying.
Okay, so they're just not. So they're not going to break into your house to take your children like they are doing in Germany. I don't know if you saw that
I think Sweden
video
too, or something, or some other country. Yeah. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that I think that law, the amendment, I think is a little different, but still.
So any 9-year-old that says, hey, I don't feel safe for whatever reason, because they just don't want to be at home because their parents are annoying them. Can legally leave your house. And go to some place where they feel safe. Now, the point still remains. What if that child's like, I feel like I'm in the wrong body and I want to have a particular surgery. While your child's with these people,
you can't do anything about it. And you can't even go and take them back.
Can't do anything. Can't do anything. Nope. Yeah. So good luck with that. Okay. And Washington's just like the first one that's passed it. I think California's working on something. New York's working on something. All these stupid states, man. But listen, it's like that's what the alien stuff is to me. Okay. It's not just some kooky stuff that I'm into right now. I see it the same way Christians saw the gay agenda 30 years ago. I see it as a piece of the puzzle leading towards something greater down the road. It might not be right now. It might not be in the next year. But I personally think that, again, World Economic Forum, if you're not familiar with it, look it up because they're governing the world right now. Okay. And their people are in power in companies and governments all over the world. Right. They're called young global leaders, and they literally graduate from the World Economic School. Trudeau, Macron, who's the German chick, Merkel, Biden. Oh my God, the list goes on. They're all from that school of thought. Right. Anyway, so they're the ones that are basically governing the world right now. And what a coincidence that 190 countries all did the exact same thing during the disease 3 years ago. They all acted exactly the same way. Lockdowns, needle arm type deals. Every single one. Everyone acted in lockstep because they're the young global leaders, graduates run all those countries. Yeah. It's insane. So we just see it, man. We just see what's coming down the pike, right? And it's interesting that World Economic Forum has this thing called the 2030 agenda, and that's when they want all of their ideas and concepts and principles implemented on a global scale. Right. So they're telling us this is the trajectory that we're on, and we want this to culminate in a one world government, global leadership. You guys, it's like the EU, but for the whole world. And it's going to be governed by the World Economic Forum. And their time frame is 6.5 more years. And they're telling you this. They're not like shy about it. Like you could go on their website and you'll see everybody that's running the world that's in positions of power that graduated their school of thought.
They talk about it openly.
They tell you exactly what they want to do. They have maps of where they want to move people, how they want territories, and nobody cares. Nobody freaking cares. You know why? Because they're talking about real estate.
Yeah. And they're talking about race issues and LGBTQ stuff.
Yeah.
Trans thing.
Every other distraction in the freaking book.
Right.
The whole game is get us to fight amongst ourselves over nothing, things that don't matter, while they're in the background, oh my God, doing everything they can to bring about their agenda by 2030. So I personally believe that we've got 6.5 more years, right? Until 2030. I think that that's when the full-blown beast system is going to be in place. The Antichrist might not be on the scene yet. He might not declare himself yet. But I think things like the trajectory we've been on for the past 3.5 years is going to continue for the next 6.5 years until the stars are aligned and their plan is in place and global surveillance, everything, Fed coin, all that stuff, right? CDBC, whatever it's called, AI, all of it, everything's in place and everything's operating. And that's when I think, and I'm not calling the time, I'm not calling when Jesus is coming back. I'm not doing any of that stuff, right? I don't believe you can do that. No. But we just see the puzzle pieces. And you would be crazy as a Christian. I shouldn't be that mean. You would be unwise as a Christian not to see it for what it is and be like, oh, well, I wonder what they're going to do by 2030 because they're saying they're going to do certain things. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Just be wise, man. Just be, maybe don't be crazy like me. You know, don't grow your hair out. Don't listen to Alex Jones if you don't want to or do. But just be wise. Like those things are happening. And from a biblical perspective, we know it's all spiritual, you know? Totally. So like the best thing you could do is get your spiritual life together. The best thing you could do is get back to Jesus, like strengthen that relationship, start telling people, because guess what? We're not the only ones that recognize these things and that things are weird. Right. Okay. Most of the non-Christian dudes I talk to are like, what the hell's going on, man? Like, what do you... Dude. These guys are hungry. Yeah, they're hungry and they don't have the knowledge that we have about what the Bible says is happening. Yeah. So like, this is the easiest time to sit down and be like, isn't this shit wild out there? And they're like, yo, what's going on? And you're like, bro, have you ever read the Bible? Like, do you know what it tells you like about this, and this? It's the easiest time. Maybe send this to your dad who you're like, hey, when are you going to start talking to people about Jesus? You know,
this is a way to talk to them about it. Yeah. But that you're right, though. They're more like open to it, right? Susceptible, right? Is that the word? Like
just open.
Yeah. But they are because like they're curious and they see things going on, right? And we're coming with like hey, we kind of knew this was going to happen. Like,
dude, look. if you're talking to somebody who's not just completely deceived, hook, line, and sinker on the freaking woke train to the abyss. If you're talking to anybody that has any kind of open mind, any kind of like honesty or like moral compass, I dare you to bring it up and see what they say. Right. You know what I mean? Bring up end of the world stuff, bring up Revelation stuff. Dude, bring up like that aliens and demons are the same thing. Right. And we've been saying that demons are like working in the world for... See where that conversations go. Just an experiment. Just like, I dare you, try it, right. You know, and see what happens. Yeah. You'll be surprised. If you've had a hard time, because this was me. I always had a hard time sitting down next to somebody, just being like, hey man, you heard about Jesus? Like, I've never been able to do that. You know what I mean?
Can I tell you about my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Exactly. Dude, exactly. Like, I've never been able to do that. Right? Yeah. Or even in a conversation, you're talking about like how good the restaurant is that you're at. And then what? Right about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Like, you know who made that food?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know that he created fish and bread out of nothing? And now you're eating fish at this restaurant. Like, what do you know, it's hard. Like, it's really, really hard. Yeah, if you want like an easy foot in the door to a conversation about Jesus, start with the world is crazy and this is what the Bible's been saying for 2,000 years is going to happen. and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the conversation gets, I've talked to so many, it's just crazy. I don't even know anymore. Like I've lost count of like these things, and they're way more open to talk about it. And the conversations, like they go into the direction of Jesus and his
It
love
has
and
to.
grace and mercy and forgiveness and like,
Yeah.
depravity on our end and all these things, like, because they see for themselves, right, with their own eyes, that like this world is not on a good path.
Dude,
like
think about it.
Up.
So these people that have never had that concept of God in their life, right? We talked about these people.
Yeah.
It's never affected. It's never entered their mind that there's a God and I'm going to live my life through that filter. That's never entered their mind. They're seeing the world and their worldview with godlessness playing itself out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, what's going on? Like this doesn't feel right.
Right.
Okay. Those guys are ready to hear about something bigger and greater than their worldview that's playing itself out right now.
Totally.
Because like, bro, even if you don't believe in God, what's going on right now just feels evil.
Yeah.
It just feels wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they acknowledge that.
Yeah. That's God created us, man. We're in his likeness, man. And we can't escape that, man, no matter what we try to do. People to the core, man. I think that, and again, that comes back to people that resist, and God doesn't send people to hell. People choose to go. And I believe that, man. Like, this is tough. I had that conversation with a buddy in California, and he didn't believe that at all. And
what did he think?
Well, he has a skewed view on that he says that Jesus is just the guaranteed way to get to the Father, but not the only way. He uses the guaranteed way. And
so he doesn't believe anything that Jesus said. So,
well, and that's
I don't know what his guarantee is if he doesn't believe the words of the guaranteed guy.
Well, that's right. And that's, it's so easy, right? It's so simple. Like I just showed him those things, exactly what you just said. And it's not that he can't understand it. It's, he just doesn't want to believe it and accept it. He doesn't want to accept it. And so, and that goes back to my original point. Well, that's your choice. You're not accepting what he's telling us. So he's not sending you to hell. You're choosing to go to, like, I mean, let's be honest, like he didn't like me when I said that, but I'm just like, I'm like, you're going to hell. I never tell anybody that, I'm not God.
For sure.
I don't judge.
Yeah. That's not our place.
No way, dude. But if you're going to have a conversation about like, is Jesus the only way? I'm going to stand firm on what he said and say, hey, whether you like it or not, doesn't matter. He said it, it's in there. Like, why don't you just like give in? Like, okay, like what's so hard? Like, why is it so hard to believe?
I don't think it's hard to believe, man. I think it's
they don't want to. That's just what it is. It's a pride thing, man. It's because if you believe that, Ben,
it also has some pretty severe implications that people probably don't want.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it, Ben. If you believe that, then you believe the rest of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, now I got to make some changes in my life, like maybe I gotta think, and I mean, Driscoll, he used to always say this. He's like, the ones who like, I'm totally butchering what he said, but he basically said it's usually a pants problem. Like usually, like when you're like in sin or in like you don't believe something, or you don't want to be obedient, right? It's usually comes to a pants problem, and it's interesting that
what does that mean? What does
that? Because our sexual desire drives so much in our world, like more than we even know. And sometimes that it does, we could have like sex here and then like work here or something like completely like different, but it's because of a sex problem. And it was really interesting because in the book, they talk about that. They talk about that exactly, and how when you resist, like believing in a creator, when everything points to it, it forces you, because if you do believe, it forces then you to like put your life in submission, right? And we don't want to be submissive, and then not just submissive like on a whole thing, but like in every part of our life. And then it'll get to a point where it gets to your sex life, and then you can't submit because you don't want to, because it feels so good, right? And when you made your God feeling good, your God, and you don't want to put that on the altar. Like, you don't want to sacrifice that idol. You don't want to stop worshiping that God. And that's why, and even in Heiser's book, it all comes back to worship. And it's all so important about how we worship and who we worship, right? And worshiping like God, the Yahweh, or worshiping other gods, or sex, or whatever, or the god of sex, right? Because that's what you're essentially doing. When you're killing a baby, you're worshiping the god who kills babies, right? Baal, or whatever that was, right?
Baal, Moloch, they call them different things.
Moloch, yeah. So like it's all spiritual, right? Like everything that we do, and the way we live, and what we idolize. That's why they use the word idol, right? I mean, and it's like, it's still the word idol for American Idol, right? I mean, it's just all over the place. It's not, the word has not gone away. It's still here. We idolize things, and we make them our God. We put them in the place of Yahweh. And that's what it comes down to, man, our daily worship, and what we're focused on. Anyway, but control and distraction is what the devil wants. And we so easily give in, man. So easy to give in into distraction. So easy. I mean, I see it, man. And now that I'm aware of it, like, I have a choice. I can give in to distraction, and which, because I want to give into lusts or desires, or wants that I want, ambitions, dreams of mine, goals of mine. Man, every morning, Ben, when I pray, I say these words. I say, like, God, like, how it says, your will, not my will, be done. But I ask him, I say, take these things, like, take my dreams, take my goals, take my wants, take my desires, take my will, take it. I don't even want it, because I have effed up my life so bad with, chasing those things, and what I thought was good, and what I wanted, and what I, and even if you think it's good, right? It doesn't matter. Does he want it for me, right? And man, and every morning I ask him to exchange his will for mine, to exchange his desires for mine, like, to exchange, or mine for his, right? My will for his, my desires for my wants, my ambitions, my goals, my future, my plans, everything. Can you change these things, God? And exchange them. I don't want my own. I want yours. And I pray this every morning, man. And it just resets me. It's like, man, nothing else matters. Like, nothing, this other stuff doesn't matter. I go to work. I see he has favor on me at work. He's, I go to church, I go, like, do other stuff. I like, and I live my life in such a nice, like, good way with God, because I'm just like, I don't want my life. I want your life, God. And that's been a really powerful thing in my life, to just give up every day and just sacrifice. Then I see it like when I'm talking to I was about to say who, I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, hey, what can I pray for you today, for? And then he tells me 4 different things. And the first 3 things were all, like, financially related, and, like, their futures as a family and their goals and stuff like that. And the last one was, and for us to be, like, united as a family, and to love the Lord, and be, and I'm just like, wow, like, do you want me to pray in that order? Or can I? And I told him, I said, I'm actually not going to pray for the first 3 things. Actually, I'm just going to pray for the last thing. That's what I told him. That was my response. And he's like, huh? And I'm like, because the other things don't really matter, man. I'm like, let's focus on the heart, man, and what really matters. Because then, you know what? Those other 3 things you might not even want to pray about. You might not even care about, or you'll just have so much trust in God that He'll take care of those things, and you don't have to even pray about. Anyway, sorry, I went on a rant there.
No, it's good, man.
Good stuff, man. It's been a while since we've talked.
I know it has. We probably won't go much longer.
Yeah.
Let's call it hour and a half.
We're gonna get. We need to get our buddy back.
Cameron.
Cameron and Cameron.
Oh my God, I talked to Cameron for an hour at his work today.
Yeah. Is he doing all right?
We need to get Cameron back. Yeah. He's good.
Let's have some topics and let's go, man.
I think we're ready for him. I think we're ready.
Good. I'm happy to hear that.
We talked about at the shop. We talked about what heaven actually is.
Ooh.
You know, and what our eternal bodies, what like our
okay, hang
actually
on.
Be like.
Okay, hang on.
Did you see the episode of
I did, and that's why I'm so glad you brought it up, because I want to talk about that a little bit, because it was so interesting. Like I was so jealous. I was like, oh, I have so much to say right now. But you know how you guys were talking about and if you guys haven't watched it or listened to it yet, please go do it. It's what's it called? Did we name it?
I don't know.
Or my best friend, my BFF or something.
Oh yeah. BFF for L. BFF for life.
Yeah. So, which was hilarious, by the way. Oh my gosh, I was dying for the first 20 minutes, just laughing the whole time. But I remember Adam said something.
Oh shoot, what did I say? Never mind. Beep.
So,
such a dork.
He said something. No, he's a dork for not using his own name.
Totally a dork.
He's a dork for not using his own name. You're a dork, Adam. Well, I love you, but you're a dork.
We're gonna fix that.
Yeah, we will. If he's coming back, he's not coming back as Adam. I won't have it.
No way.
I won't have it.
There's no point. There's no reason.
But yeah, he said something about because you alluded to this at first, and you said something about the heaven is such a euphoric experience. Like it's the only thing we can relate it to is like a sexual encounter, right? That's what we can kind of relate. Not even
related to, but that's just like the tiniest speck,
like a glimpse of it,
of that sentiment.
Taste, right,
you know,
right. Which I totally agree with, by the way, Ben, because
it makes sense to me.
It makes sense because we experience that, right? And it's like euphoric, and it's like,
dude. Not only that, but when you said that, like Driscoll said, it's a pants problem.
Right,
it's all a sex problem.
Yeah.
Why is it a sex problem?
Right.
Why isn't it
Why?
Because that's literally the closest thing we've got here to what it'll be like for eternity. So that governs everything. Just like for us, heaven, Jesus, eternity, that governs our lives.
Yeah.
For these guys, this is the closest thing they've got. So that governs all their lives.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I see that.
I totally see
But go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was just interesting. Like he was he pushed back on that. And then, cause I like his insight on things. He's got great insight. But it's just interesting to hear different people talk about their views on heaven. I was watching this documentary on the way home on the plane. I'm getting into these animal documentaries for some reason. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older.
I love watching animal documentaries.
Bro, I never cared for them. And my brother was really big on them. And I would be annoyed because I'd be at his house and he'd be watching an animal documentary. I'm like, dude, let's watch something else. He's like, no, this is so amazing. And so now I just kind of started getting into it. I'm like, oh, dude, these are the best. And
they're so fun.
There's this one, oh man, what's it called? You have to watch this one if you have. You probably already did.
Okay, while you pull it up, one thing, the reason I love animal documentaries is because it makes me realize, do you realize how much is happening on this planet always?
Right.
Dude,
yes,
animals have a narrative going on. There's every single being on this planet, every single bug, everything. There's so much happening, and we just get, we get our daily life and stuff, but it's the lions are doing shit. The elephants are doing stuff. The camels, the camels, chameleons. They're bro, a camel chameleon hybrid. Ooh, now we're getting somewhere.
You are so spot on.
That's why I love watching those things, because I'm just do you realize hey, God knows and sees all of it. That thing that we're just getting a glimpse into that one bear cub's life and how cool it is and the mom helping and this and that. Right, I'm like, dude, all of that infinitely, fish, bugs, everything, human, and he's just nice. Well, maybe not nice because of the fall and sin and you know what I mean?
Well,
there's probably, I don't think they'd be killing each other. I think it would be you know how there's a really nice narrative in those documentaries?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and the wolf lost his pup, and he found them, and da da da.
Yeah,
and the dolphins love each other, and look.
No,
at the
but they have to be killing each other, man. Even before the fall.
I don't think so.
I think so, man, because it's like a certain.
Hold on. We're gonna go down a whole other rabbit trail. Did you find the one you wanted?
Yeah, well, it's called A Perfect Planet. Well, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just the title is called A Perfect Planet. I don't know. I was on the American Airlines flight thing, you know, but I'm sure you can find it. I'm sure it's on Netflix or something. A Perfect Planet. It is so well done, Ben. And they had this one on fig trees and a fig, and how like there's fig wasps, and the wasp goes into the fig, lays or several wasps. They lay hundreds of eggs in this fig, so you're eating like freaking eggs, wasp eggs. And so I probably want to eat a fig again, but I don't even really like them. But and then what they do is like they so then they get into like hibernation mode, kind of like they just chill, and then no, they go out and they die. Yeah, they just go out and they like totally like murder them, like they commit suicide kind of like right away. And then
kamikaze wasps.
Right. And then the eggs get fertilized, and then the males are born first, and then they go and they inseminate the female eggs. Like they have this penis that grows like 10 times, and they show it. It's crazy. Yeah, dude. It's a little wasp, but his penis is like so big, and it goes into like a little egg, and then it like fertilizes it.
Wow.
And then it waits till the female moth comes out, or wasp comes out, and then the male goes up outside of the fig. It sacrifices itself so that the female wasp can get out and then escape, and then go and fertilize another egg, another thing. And this
that's that's like their whole lives.
Their whole lives. This is what they do.
God.
And I'm sitting there like, this is so incredible, right? I'm watching this thing now, and then this is what the thought that comes to me. It's like, all right, so you know how God intended, you know, this earth, right, to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
And whether you believe they kill each other or not or whatever, I think they do. Yeah. But we were created in His likeness to have dominion over the world, like the earth, right?
Yeah.
Over the plants, the trees, the animals, you know, everything, the fish. We were supposed to have dominion, right? He didn't tell us anything else. He didn't go say create societies, go and create an education system, go and learn calculus, like go and, you know, like he didn't tell us any of that stuff, like go get a job. Like he just basically wanted us to enjoy the earth, right? And never experience death, and just always live and procreate, right? And I think about it, I'm like, well, what would we have done this whole time on the earth? Like, you know, like would have been boring? Like would have been boring? Like just sitting around? Like what are we gonna do? But then,
you're saying if there was no sin,
right? If there was
and
no
if
sin,
Adam and Eve would have just continued.
Yes, and no one along the line would have sinned, right? Like we would have this whole like crazy populated earth. Like we wouldn't have like systems, right? Governments and all that stuff. We wouldn't have death, and we wouldn't have any of this stuff, right? Obviously, because no sin. But what would we be doing all day, right? We wouldn't be like, I don't know if like we'd be playing sports and stuff like that, or like other stuff. Like I think like the deception is so like crazy that it shifted everything. Like it shifted everything, the way we live our lives, sure. Right?
For
like
sure.
You and I were born into this world, into this system already, right? But like back then, like they weren't born to be in a system, and with like they were with borders and other stuff. Like it was all free. Now, to answer the question of what they would have done what we would have done all day, it's like, dude, well, the earth is so marvelous. Like everything, like
amazing.
You could just sit there, look at a fig for like a whole freaking like 3, 4, or 5 days, right? And then go to another fig and be like, oh, you know, and then like, oh, like just constantly just be like amazed at like every animal, every fish,
It's funny because everybody in these systems with jobs and cities and computers, what do they always want to do? Get out to nature.
Right. That's so true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's literally what they want. Yeah. And farm and raise and grow and this, and it's like ingrained in us. It's definitely an interesting mental exercise to try to like think what would happen had there been no sin. Hey, forget figs, bro. If there was no sin, guess who'd still be around? Jesus.
No, true.
You think we give a crap about a fig? We'd be like glorifying God.
Wow, dude.
I mean, Jesus, he was present. You know, he was present with them in the garden. He said he walked with them in the morning, in the midst of the dew. Like,
or the cool
I don't
day.
think we'd be like, what's going on up there? Like, how's God? How's like, what about the angel? There was angels in the garden. The divine counsel of God was in the Garden of Eden. Okay. Right. So they knew, Adam and Eve knew about this whole other realm. They knew about Jesus. They knew about God. They knew these things, you know? So I think, man, it would have been crazy. This is a question. Yeah. I love nature. Trust me. But I think Jesus would have just blown the pants off of
for sure,
figs,
dude.
you know?
For sure.
Hey, here's another question though. Like, and I talked to Cameron about this today. Had they not sinned and brought death into the world, right? Mm-hmm. What they were commanded, Adam and Eve were commanded to reproduce and multiply, right? To procreate before they sinned. Yeah. That wasn't a result of sin. Right. So in the perfect world, no sin, perfect humans, they were told to procreate, which would have produced what? More perfect humans. Right. Yeah. That didn't die. Right. And then they'd procreate, and then they'd procreate, and then they'd procreate. How soon before there's a lot of people on this planet that like, wouldn't there be a lot of people?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't, I don't see that as a problem.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Let's just go with the 6,000 years since creation, right? Let's just say that's what it is.
Yeah.
Nobody dies.
Yeah, you're talking, I don't know how many billions.
And no diseases, no
mass
aging,
murdering,
nobody dies. Yeah. How long do you
abortion.
think those people how long can people have kids for in a perfect,
and they were living to they lived because they only died because, they would have lived forever.
Because of sin. They would have lived forever. They probably wouldn't have aged.
Yeah.
So they'd probably be the same age.
Do you think we'd all be like
now?
Like buff?
Oh, jacked.
You think jacked or just kind of like, just fit?
Dennis, why do we think Adam and Eve were our size?
I don't think they were our size.
How do we know that they weren't giants?
You think he created them as giants and we just shrunk over time?
I mean, everything's getting smaller. Everything's getting more diseased. Everything's on a downward trajectory for us. We've already reached our genetic limit. They said that genetics from now on are just more and more and more and more tainted, you know? Yeah. And that's a progression. Yeah. It's a downward slope.
Yeah.
Not that, okay, listen, I shouldn't say that they were giants because in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the term giant is a negative thing. It's applied to a demonic offshoot, or the Nephilim offshoot, something like that.
Sure.
To think that Adam and Eve were 6 feet tall and 5'9" is silly. Is silly. You know what I mean? They were probably much bigger than we were or than we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes sense. It makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Hey, for all that we know, a freaking dinosaur in the Garden of Eden was like a lizard, to us. They could have been freaking big. That's all I'm saying. And here's my question. If these guys would have never sinned and never got diseases, never aged, they could have had a lot of babies, and so could every single one of their offspring. So it's like, I know
and
this
every woman would have been able to have a baby.
Every single one.
Yeah.
From the beginning to now, they'd all be popping out babies, and so would their babies. Hey, but here's the thing, and this isn't a freaking, Cameron kept saying this isn't an argument for population control. I know. I don't believe in that. I think that's demonic, right? Population control. Sure. But I think the earth would have filled up with humans.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Hey, really filled up.
Yeah, but then what's not to say that God would have been like, okay, cool, we're making another earth. We're gonna
for sure
spill over.
For sure.
Let's go.
There's nothing to say that couldn't have happened.
But of course. Yeah. It's an easy solution.
That's actually, listen, and we don't believe this. Don't call my pastor and tell him. I don't want to hear it. We're just thinking out loud.
Right.
Okay. It's called a thought experiment for a reason.
Right.
Hey, or hold on. Now that I'm thinking about this, bro, hold on. Hey, what if only Adam and Eve were going to reproduce?
Oh.
Hey, right?
Wow.
Right?
Whoa! Did that just hit you, or have you thought of that before?
Yeah, no, right now.
Shoo.
Wow,
Dude, I'm clicking all of them. I'm freaking clicking all of them.
Bro.
How dare you?
Bro.
What do I do, Lord? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons.
That was perfect.
Oh my God, that was so good at the end.
Man, dude, that's
dude,
that's
what if,
some insight,
think about
dude.
that.
Whoa.
I'm not saying I believe this. Don't call my pastor. Don't get me kicked out of
but
church.
like,
just thinking out loud.
I mean, yeah, go and procreate.
Fill the earth.
He's
Who was that told
yeah.
to? That was told to Adam and Eve.
Wow, Ben.
Hey, that's
just
possible,
blew
bro.
my
That might
mind.
have actually been the course that sinlessness would have taken, you know?
That makes a lot of sense though too, because then I mean, even them like living forever, but them being the ones that populate the earth, right? Like, and then everybody's a brother and a sister, right? Like everybody is like,
Yeah.
you know,
Hey, and that's crazy because it says, do you remember that parable? Not parable, but I think the Pharisees were trying to trap Jesus and they asked him, hey, this chick had a husband. He died.
Yeah, I just read it like yesterday.
The brother took the wife. He died. The brother took the wife. He died.
Yeah.
Up to 7 brothers. Whose wife is she going to be in paradise?
Right.
And he's like, nobody's.
Yeah.
Because we will be like the angels, not given to marriage. Right? Okay. So guess what? If only, and here's the other thing. Me and talk. Beep. Hey, we talked about what's the plan here? Is God just with eternity? The argument is God's reestablishing his original creation order.
Right.
Okay. Adam and Eve, garden, perfect, sinless, earth great. That's what he intended for humanity in this dimension. That's how he wanted it to be. So to think that like, oh, we're just going to go up to heaven and be angels and float around on clouds in the presence of God and teleport. What the hell are you talking about?
Right.
That's like nowhere in the Bible.
Right.
Not only is it nowhere, that's not what he created.
Right.
So don't you think he's just fixing it? He's not changing his. Why would he have created Adam and Eve the way he did, garden, perfect, sinless earth? Only for it to go really bad, and then boop, clouds, angels, little cherubim on teleporting. No, bro. No. So he's fixing what was broken, and he's going to perfect it again. Right? That's the goal. And so, if that's what's going to happen, you have a new earth, Garden of Eden, everything reestablished like before. When God says, or when Jesus says, we will be like the angels not given to marriage, right? That's actually kind of in keeping with if only Adam and Eve would have procreated.
Right.
Because all their offspring would not be given into marriage.
That's so true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Whew.
Thoughts with Benas the Menace live.
Really good stuff, man. So I have one more thing to add to this.
Don't believe me. I don't know anything. I'm just thinking out loud.
I have one more thing to add to this.
Yeah.
So
I love thought experiments.
Yeah, dude, they're the best. So something I have this like picture in my mind, and I've thought about this for I don't know, maybe like 4 months now or so, about like when we worship God, Yahweh, he then bestows like his love and mercy and grace. Like he floods us, right, with his presence, with his goodness, with his kindness. So, and then we just give him more praise, and then he just gives us more of his presence and more kindness and more goodness and more grace, and then we worship him again. And it's this like this reoccurring thing, right? And that's what heaven is, right? Like this reoccurring, we sing to him, but we get blessed in return. So every time that we worship him, like we get blessed in return. Like in I think in this broken world, even we get to see it. Whether it's blessed with, a sensation, a feeling, a presence, or actual physical things, right? Like sometimes he blesses us with like jobs or children or money or health or whatever, right? So there's blessings that come in return, but we worship him and then he gives us back. And it's just this constant cycle that happens. And I thought about this, like, man, if he, I think his plan was just to get more worship from like new
sure.
humans, and then in turn,
sure.
so that he can in turn love back and pour back even generously, and then have new humans so that they can worship again. And it's just like this constant thing forever. I mean, imagine like
that. Okay, people would say that sounds boring. Like all you're doing is
dude, it's
singing
incredible.
songs or worshiping.
Right.
Do you has you had experiences
Right,
with God
right.
where it's just like, oh my God, and you're just in this state of like, you don't of euphoria, and so imagine that, for eternity times a million,
right.
because we're not really experiencing it to its fullest, right? So imagine that times a million, times a billion, times whatever, you know what I mean? So when people are like, oh dude, heaven sounds boring, we're just gonna be like singing and worshiping, you don't get it.
And
you know what I mean?
I had a glimpse of it, dude, and I know you know this.
Oh, you get it.
I get it, dude. I was able to understand like and experience what that really means in the sensation that you get back in return. But it's constant adoration. It's constant constant worship and constant
it's
praise,
like a state of
dude.
existence.
Yes. And then you're just like, oh, like you're just getting it more and more and more. And you're like, it's just like this, this constant thing. And I could just picture it, like us being in heaven and be like looking over. I'm like, I see you. And you're like, oh, this is incredible. You're like, yeah, man, this is the best thing ever. And then it's just like constant. And it's like, that's how good God is, because we don't have anything else. Like there's no more tears, no more pain, no more like nothing else.
Hold on. How funny is it? And this is what I'm trying. This is what I'm thinking about lately, bro. We just went from new heaven, new earth, re-establishment of the creation order, right? To when we're in heaven, it's going to be just, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't, dude, that's going to be a clip. Just both of us going, back and forth.
You got to loop it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay. But you see what I'm saying? Like I think both of those things will exist.
Yes.
I don't think it's just going to be a constant state of us going,
right.
Because Adam and Eve were the original creation intent.
Right.
And they weren't just going around going,
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They were told to procreate, reproduce, name the animals, tend to the garden. They had tasks. They had, and Jesus walked with them and they're like, what's up, man? And he's like, what's up, man? You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe that was the moments.
Yeah, dude.
But they had orders. They had jobs. They had, so even if you look in the, the episode where we talked about what is heaven or where is heaven or whatever, he brings up this passage in, I think it's in Isaiah, where it talks about that there's going to be ships from Tarshish coming with spices and blah, blah, blah. And then you get in Revelation, I think 21, where it talks about the new heaven, new earth, new Jerusalem coming down, and that there's going to be streams of living water, I think it's streams of living water, but also the tree of life is going to be in the garden. And it says that the nations will come in to the new Jerusalem and partake of the tree of life.
Wow.
Okay. Guess what? Just like in the garden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, why are there nations?
Yeah, that's weird. That's interesting.
Where are they coming from?
Unless the word nations just represents like the people. Because I don't know if there's going to be like separate different kinds of nations or something.
I don't know, man. It says that we will rule with him. It says that we will be given, I can't remember it and I haven't read it, so I'm totally butchering it. I think it talks about like us having dominion over, it says we'll judge angels. Like there's a certain there's a certain idea that that we will have authority as Christians in the eternal state over what? I don't know.
Maybe we'll judge the fallen angels.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure, because we will stand as a source of judgment to the fallen angels, the demonic, all of that, because Christ gave us grace, love, mercy, okay, and forgiveness, and now we are with him for eternity. We have replaced the fallen angelic. That's what we're doing. That's like the grand scheme. Okay. And and as a result, because Christ did that in us, we stand as judgment against the angels because he hasn't done any of that. Like, we will be an example to them. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, that's Heiser's. That's Heiser's concept. I don't know if it's original to him, but it's in Unseen Realm, the book Unseen Realm. Go get it. It's the best. It's so good. That we are replacing the fallen angels. Right. You know? Which is pretty crazy.
Dude, that's insane. Ben, like, how, with all this talk, man, like how much do we have to look forward to, right? Like, bro, like, and this is why, like, when I get in conversations with other people, I'm like, hey, I don't care about the other stuff anymore. Like, I really don't care, man. Like, you know, I'm cool, like, talking about like end of the world stuff and like all the stuff that's happening, and you know, and that also is just to like show people, like, hey, you know, this the Bible's true. Like, this is all happening. Like, but and we have so much to look forward to, though, right? Like, and it makes it also like life, like living here, it makes like it easier to live here on earth in a sense when you think about eternity, right?
Sure.
In heaven, even though I want to get out and be like, dude, I just want to go to heaven now, but like, it makes it easier to just like deal with like the BS, right, that we have to deal with in these systems, right? Because we have the hope of heaven in us, right? And it sucks, man, for all these people that don't. Right?
I can't imagine, man. I just can't imagine. Like, I feel the closer I've gotten to Jesus and the more I understand what's going on and stuff like that, dude, the more like empathy I have for people around me. You know what I mean? Dude, for like homeless people, for like all sorts of stuff. Doesn't mean I give them money because like you're just going to go get drugs or something. But I just like,
not all.
I don't know. Not all. You know what I mean?
It's something like my dad would say all the time. He was like, no. But then like, well, you know, yeah, I think it is good to like give a sandwich or like, you know, like instead of just money. And
I just don't carry sandwiches.
I know, but like, it's hard though. It's hard to like, you know,
I know.
to stop and.
I know. Hey, yeah. I'm just keeping it real.
No.
You know, most people aren't giving money to homeless people because they think they're going to go use drugs, and that's exactly what I think.
Yeah,
too.
I was taught.
But don't listen to me.
I know.
But anyway, like I just like, I don't know, man. I look at people and I'm just like, even what we're talking about, even with like the woke mind virus, you know, and these people that like we are opposed to, diametrically opposed to your worldview and what you're doing, and I'm just like, bro, what happened to you in your life to where you're this jacked? Like mentally, spiritually, emotional, like you're a disaster. Nobody wakes up and is just like, I'm gonna cut my wiener off today. Nobody, bro. Nobody. Do you know how much like trauma and like pain and emotional and just mental, like you have to go through so much in your life to get to a point where you're like, I don't need this wiener anymore. Bye. You know, this will fix me. This is it.
Or to be a parent that encourages your child to do that. Like, oh my, man. It's one thing for children because they're just so confused.
Oh my God. Dennis, what about that one verse that says better for a millstone to be tied around your neck and you be thrown in like a river or whatever than for you to deceive one of these little ones? You know what I mean? Hey, if you're a parent, you got some responsibilities. Man, you know what I mean?
Of course.
It's nuts, man.
Good stuff. Hey, Ben, man, awesome night, dude. I'm so happy to be back, dude. It's so nice to see you and talk to you and chat. And I love our conversations, man. They go so wild.
Always, man.
They're so wild.
Hey,
thanks.
Crazy times,
thanks
bro.
For whoever stuck it through and listened to this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's so nice to get feedback.
We're trying to keep them shorter, but like, dude, it's so hard when we get going.
Yeah. For sure.
An hour flies.
Dude,
like,
I know.
Like this,
so
you know?
so quick. But also like yeah, we'll do some shorter ones too, but like it's also been a while since we got together.
It's been a while.
I'm surprised we haven't gone 3 hours. I'm actually pretty proud of ourselves. Actually,
I mean, we can. I'm trying to cut it because I know 3 hours. People don't listen to 3 hours. People don't listen to 2. Like an hour is good.
It's really cool though.
We just need to do more 1 hour videos.
More 1 hour videos for sure. And listen, if you're out there that and have something that you can bring to the table, like, and you want to get on and talk to us, like, we'd love to have you. You just need a strong internet connection and a decent mic and a decent camera at least. You don't have to have like the best stuff, but like, it's got to be.
And also,
decent.
don't be crazy.
Yeah. No. Like, tell us what you want to talk about and stuff. We'll all talk and stuff. But I mean, we don't put this on live anyway, so it's like we can, we won't put it on if it's like crazy.
Yeah. Hey, that's a really good idea. Okay, you know how we did like thought experiment right now for like 30 minutes? Yeah. Hey, what if somebody that has like something they're thinking about or working through or just question or whatever? What if they come on and we thought experiment it with them?
Let's do it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. It's
really
great to get
that.
other people's perspective too. Like, I want to hear it.
And not that we're gonna like give you an answer to it, but like,
let's talk.
I like to think about things.
Yeah, all kinds of things, whatever topic. Like we, within, of course, that points to the world that we live in right now. Like, and not like, I don't know, nothing that doesn't matter, right? Like something that matters, right?
Real estate.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about real estate.
Although I am in real estate.
Me too.
And if you need a realtor in Boise, yeah.
We're both realtors.
Exactly.
So
How funny, man.
But we're doing this podcast instead. And thanks to the people that have been listening and have been like diehard. I was on my trip, and like some dude's like, "Man, I listened to all your stuff, and it's so cool." And I'm like, that was my response. Really? Like you too? I'm like, that's awesome, man. And he was like, dude, it hasn't happened only once. And I know we don't have a lot of followers, but like,
and you know them? They're like your friends?
Yeah. Like just people that are like,
oh, that's awesome.
Wow. And then like someone else was listening. They're like, what? You're on a podcast? And I'm like, how come I don't know about this? I'm like, oh yeah, here you go. And I sent it, and it was so cool. But yeah, so thanks for the support. Like, subscribe, share, comment, share this with people. If they know us, especially, like, I'm sure they like to see our ugly mugs, and see what we're up to. But and we'd like to hear about what you guys are up to, and any other topics that you guys want. Even if you don't want to come on and talk, if you're shy or something, but just throw them in the comments, and just like we'll pick it up and we'll talk about it.
Oh, Dennis. Yeah. Some in-house business. We should do this stuff in the front end.
Yeah, for sure. I know.
Because if people didn't last 2 hours,
so sure.
They're not hearing any of this. But this is good. No, this is good practice.
It's good practice.
Yeah,
we'll do it more.
For sure. Bro, we're on our way. We're on our way to 200 on YouTube.
Hey, man. Couldn't say that.
And it's going pretty quick.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
and Instagram's blowing up. I don't know how that's going.
I don't understand what's happening. The Instagram's blowing up. The TikTok's blowing up. Yeah. The so Twitter. Cool. I don't know how Twitter works, but one of the posts I did had like 8,000. I don't even know what's happening on Twitter.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah. So I'm like, I just posted one of the videos from Insta, and I but you know what I think it is? I think it's because I tagged Driscoll in it.
Ooh, okay.
I asked Driscoll a question, like I added him. Okay. I don't know what that's called.
You tagged him.
But tagged. Okay, and that has to be why that picked up. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, if you guys are out there and you guys know like any like tactics we could use that are like slick, in the social media world. Like, teach us, train us. Like, we don't know what we're doing, but we want to just talk to everybody we can or anybody we can about this stuff that's going on in this world. But also, we're not teaching; we're just talking and conversing.
Yes.
But
very important.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, we want other people that haven't heard about these things or maybe curious and they don't even know like how to put language to it. Yeah, like to be like, oh yeah, I kind of been thinking about that. Like, let's talk and let's just get them interested, and hopefully. It'll point people to Jesus, right? Because that's the whole, that's what's on my heart. That's on your heart. Like, we can't deny that, right? We're not here, like, not trying to talk about Jesus. Jesus is everything. Why would we not talk about Jesus? And in the end, it's all for him, through him, by him, right? So he's our everything. And if you want to know more about that, and just DM us, man, we'd love to pray with you, pray for you. I can't tell you how important prayer has become in my life for the last 6 months. It is the most important thing in my life. And I've been praying with so many people. I got to pray with like my friends and their kids this trip. It was so beautiful, man.
Wow.
Like, the things have been happening, and And so, yeah, if you need prayer, like just hit us up and we'll pray and love on you for a little bit. But thanks for watching. Thank you, Ben, for hanging out. It's been so good to see you, man. And we'll see you next time.
I missed it, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love the hair,
love
man.
you guys. Thank you for everything.
Have a good night, brother.
I'm probably going to keep it up. I'm too hot.
Well, whatever you do, but definitely do the mullet at some point. I mean,
I have to. All right. Love you guys. Thanks for everything. Bye.